afternoon. How is everybody today? Welcome, welcome. You are on TheConnect with us, and we are live from this very sunny and beautiful office space in Mbabane in the beautiful kingdom of Eswatini. How are you this afternoon?
All good in the hood. That's how we do right here, coming at you live from the Checkers Office Park in the Cap City, Mbab City. It's your boy, the courtesy of hip hop, and I'm sitting here with none other than,
well, Shelly.
Just Shelly.
Just Shelly.
We still have to work on that.
We're going to work on this AKA thing. Okay. Anyway, we're not alone. As you know, we often come to you live and not alone. So today we have two wonderful youngsters with us in the room. We have Kiyara and Ayibongwe. Hi, how are you guys today? Yeah, good. Thank you for coming in. So as you know, today we're talking e-learning, cybersecurity, very important. But before we go there, we want to run through a little bit what's been happening this week. But most importantly is we are late today, so we really do want to apologize. We were meant to come on at 1. And for those who are waiting on YouTube, please let them know that unfortunately, due to the challenges with internet today, we will be on Facebook. So join us on Facebook, come into the room like we did last time, share questions, share your stories, experiences. We want to hear from you. Okay, so please just post that for us so that we can redirect everybody who's waiting on YouTube. And hopefully we'll be able to fix those technical issues, right?
Yeah, so even though we're not live on YouTube right now, but we will still be available immediately after this. We will upload today's episode on YouTube, on our YouTube page immediately after this. But we're looking forward to a wonderful time with you guys as always. And as Shelly said, apologies for that slight delay. Technical things will always be technical. So we're grateful for the team in the background that has just done everything they can to make sure that we're coming at you live and direct this afternoon. So hello, good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you for joining us. And we would like to know actually one, who's in the room and where you're joining us from, just so that we have a nice idea of the scope or how far we're reaching out into the world this afternoon.
Absolutely. Okay, so to kickstart, quite a bit has happened in the past week. We are coming to you obviously weekly on Tuesday, as you know. So what have you picked up in the space? Courtesy, what's been happening this week that's caught your eye, that you've been interested in?
So it's there's quite a number of things. Some of them encouraging, some of them discouraging, and some of them just get you feeling like, okay, you know what? We're in the space of free flow right now. We don't know when we're gonna land. We don't know where we're gonna land or even how. But we're just gonna keep surviving. We're just gonna keep flapping our wings until things get to a place where we can actually find footing. But some of the things that are going on right now is we saw in the news that about 8,000 jobs have been lost. As a direct effect of the COVID-19 situation, which has resulted in a lockdown. Sure. So we are seeing a couple of people or a couple of companies or industries struggling to stay afloat, obviously because a lot of businesses survive with the movement of people. And right now people are not moving as frequently or as freely as they would love to. So there's businesses that are actually suffering that blow. We're seeing tenants vacating flats because they're unable to meet their rent or pay their rent. Obviously, the landlords are also in a bit of a pickle because they also don't know what to do. The flats are their way of generating income. If you live there and you're unable to pay, then it becomes a bit of a challenge for them in terms of what to do. I do know of a couple of landlords who have been generous enough to give discounts during this time. You know what I mean? People are giving 30% or maybe even 50% discount on rent during this time, just to allow people to sort of like still occupy the flats, but also still be able to do other things as well. So maybe that's one of the best, or rather that's one of the options that we can suggest, or rather we can request from landlords to say, rather than kicking people out, find a way that you can both coexist at this time, and then of course maybe you'll find a way to repay at a later stage when things kind of like normalize. There's obviously the buzz around the magic muti from Madagascar. You know what I mean?
We've heard about that. Have you guys been hearing a bit about this buzz? This tonic.
This tonic.
Yeah.
That's what's buzzing on the street right now, and there's still a lot of questions around. Is it good? Is it bad? Or whatever? But we're still going to find out a little bit more about that. And then also, we're just grateful that you guys are here in the room with us, and let's just chop this up. And we're going to be talking about
e-learning.
E-learning in this time of COVID-19. So Shelly?
Absolutely. So what I saw on TV actually was this interesting thing about people in South Africa. There's a company, it's actually called Intra-Market Graphics. And what they've done is they've actually come together and put together boards. They've built beds out of compressed fiber boards. And what that does, it means that they can basically unfold a bed or assemble a bed in 5 minutes. Now, why is that interesting and important? Well, it seems to be that some of these studies coming out are saying we're going to reach our peak in about August, September of the year, which means that that's when really the COVID infections will rise quite dramatically, and we'll have a widespread kind of infection, which means we probably will need to set up what they call field hospitals, right? So the big question is, do we have enough beds? Do we have enough ventilators? Where will people be able to go? So I know some people have very kindly been giving out their spaces, if they have hotel rooms, if they have halls, in order to set up these field hospitals. But I thought this was a great initiative. So Intermarket Graphics are basically coming together to put up or to build these beds that you can basically unfold in 5 minutes, which I think is great. And they are fully reusable, and they can be sanitized, and basically setting up field hospitals becomes something that is quick, efficient, and effective. So look them up, ladies and gents, if you're interested in that. Yeah. Okay, tell us a little bit about your week, guys. How have things been going? Are you back at school? What's going on?
I'm back at school.
Okay.
I've been back for 2 weeks now. And yeah, things are definitely different. It's going to take some getting used to. How things are going for now is that we still have class from 8 to 4 like a regular school day. But obviously now some classes are pre-recorded, some are live, some are just, they recommend sites to go to, videos to watch, and yeah, that's how it's going.
Okay, good. How's it going for you, Ayibongwe?
This COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdown indeed. So it's very tough for us as students, especially the external classes. It's very, very, very tough. So, but we are coping, we are getting there. So we are learning online, using emails, WhatsApp and other stuff. So we'll try all the best we can.
Absolutely. Well, good on you. I mean, this is a new space, right? We're all learning as we go. Right? Learning on the job is what we like to say. We don't know, but we're slowly trying to adapt. So we'll hear a little bit more from you and how you're coping a little bit on that e-learning. But over to you. So as you know, ladies and gents, we have a few features that we've built into these episodes. And one of them is the quote or the question of the week. So over to you, Courtesy. What have you got for us to get our thinking juices going this morning?
So legacy is in coming up with the solutions and not highlighting the problem.
Okay.
Legacy or wealth is in coming up with the solution and not highlighting the problem. And why do I say this? Everyone saw the storm, but Noah built the ark. And to date, we're still talking about Noah, but we're not talking about everybody else. And unfortunately, we're in a society where right now, everyone sees the storm and they focus on the storm. And everyone keeps on saying, oh, the storm is coming. And then they have a storm is coming Facebook page. They print storm is coming
T-shirts and caps.
They have hashtag the storm is coming, and everyone sort of just like focuses on the fact that the storm is coming.
Yeah.
But Noah's legacy was in the fact that he built the ark and not that he ignored the storm, he was aware that it's coming, but he went into the solution. So I think right now that's also one of the things that we would like to challenge each and every one of us. The solution to what we're going through might not come from the government, might not come from the doctors, it might not come from the people that we expect it to come from, but it might come from you. And the minute you remove your attention from the fact that the storm is coming and start to help us build an ark.
I like that, building the ark for the storm. Okay, well, good. I think we'll see how we can do that a little bit more later on in the show. Thanks for that. So we'll obviously be posting that quote up. Curtis is always so great with them. I don't know where he finds them, but he loves them.
Oh, by the way, that one is a self-quote.
Oh, self-quote. Oh, it's levels.
That one straight from the boy. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
So we'll obviously share that with you. Let's have your comments as well. Tell us what you are seeing and thinking as you see that. So yes, coming into the room, and please again share. You'll remember that we mentioned we are often live both on Facebook and YouTube. Unfortunately and very sadly today, due to our internet connectivity, we are unable to go live on YouTube. So please redirect your friends and family who may have wanted to connect with us today, and redirect them to Facebook, the Pacific Institute Swaziland, and they should be able to get on quite quickly. Okay, in the room again we have some more people coming in, Courtesy. Who else is joining us?
In the room with us today we have Mayenjani, we've got Sammy, Tracy, Kim from Malkerns, we've got Julie from Babane Pilile, also from the Cap City, Zanele Bongani, Sue, Wendell from TPI Botswana. Hi Wendell, and welcome. We also have Melody from Brema, which is Manzini. We have Olga from Johannesburg. Thank you guys very much for joining us and for being a part of this here conversation. We're going to be talking about as you saw in the room with us, we've got students, Kiyara and Ayibongwe. We're going to be having a conversation with them about how is the state or the situation around their learning, especially in this time right now. We are seeing businesses taking a different sort of like path in terms of how people are working. People are working from home. The students have had to adapt a similar approach, learning from home. Yeah. How does that look like, and how does that feel like for them? That's the conversation we're going to be having with them. And once again, thank you for everyone that is joining us. Sipogazi, we see you. Shout out to Martin, aka MK. Today is his birthday. Happy birthday. I know he's one of the guys that's always with us right here on TheConnect. So message from us, it's your birthday. Grow up.
Okay, I mean, that's a nice birthday message. Also, if in case you didn't know, ladies and gents, almost every day in the year, right, there's something we celebrate. So today apparently is International Hand Washing Day or hand hygiene. So let's, in honor of our hygiene today, okay, and I don't know, I did post a video about this, how we're supposed to do this. So basically you dip your fingers in, has everyone got? Yeah, you transfer across to the other hand, dip the tips of the fingers in, right, and then we rub palms, go up to the exterior of the hand, interlace the thumbs on both, yeah, in between from the thumb, that little area here that we often miss, okay, and over the knuckles. So as you bend in between, you get that knuckle skin, right, that we need to take care of as well, okay. And that is a good, thorough hand clean, okay? We obviously know, ladies and gents, that there are many people out there who don't have access to water, soap, basic hygiene, and what we want to do is really encourage a lot of people on the ground, our private sector partners, NGOs, who are really ensuring that people are getting access to just basic sanitation materials so that they too can wash hands, which is really key in trying to curb the spread of COVID virus, right? We know that. So thank you for joining in on that one. Great. So ladies and gents, we have introduced Ayibongwe and Kiyara to you, who are in studio. We are keeping social distancing, as you can see. We've made a concerted effort to do so and sanitize our environment, but thank you very much for being here with us to just share your experience. Someone else who we'll be zoning in with is Pernille Hansen. And Pernille is going to join us via Zoom to also speak to us a little bit about what it means when kids are in this e-learning space, what mental health and wellness is, how it is important for us, and especially at this time when we have just time and space, right, to stop and think about what's happening to us. Because it's not as easy as simply just clicking on and being online and learning. There's a lot of other things that we might not know about that are happening, and we really want Pernille to share her views on that. So for those of us who don't know, Pernille Hansen is a psychologist. She is also a director of Duduza here in Eswatini, and Duduza provides consultancy services that work to improve mental health, psychosocial well-being in Eswatini. Pernille, as far as her experience, has worked with many organizations. Highlighted is really her work with Save the Children Denmark and also the Lebanon Red Cross. From the years of 2013 to 2016, Pernille was also, in fact, head of Department of Psychology and Life Skills at Waterford Kamhlaba here in Eswatini. She has lived internationally. I was trying to read how many different countries, Pernille, and you'll correct us, probably about 7 different countries that you've lived in, but also just traveled across the world. And we are so happy for you to be with us today. Welcome. So, great, thank you, Pernille. There is a little bit of a delay, ladies and gents, so please continue to be patient with us as we just set up the technical support behind the Zoom.
All right. And also, as Shelly did introduce them earlier on, but without giving like context in terms of who they are and where they are from. On the other side of this here panel, we've got Ayibongwe, who is all the way from Mauhalala. He's grade 11 at same high school. So he's going to give us sort of like the perspective of the public school student in this time where we're doing remote learning. And right next to him is Kiyara Thring from the Valley of Pine. Yes, she's been watching too much Game of Thrones. From the Valley of Pine. But she goes to Waterford Kamhlaba, and she's also going to be giving us her perspective in terms of how does it feel like for her or for them to be in this space of remote learning. And I think, guys, maybe we can just like dive straight into that. Ayibongwe, you spoke about how you guys are using WhatsApp as your platform for learning right now. So tell us a little bit, how does that work?
So we have a teacher.
All right.
Different teachers like maths, English, Swati, and all the different subjects. So the teacher teaches, then we answer. He or she asks questions. We answer. We write classworks, even tests. We write them online. So learning on WhatsApp, it's not easy.
Of course.
Because we have friends, we have families, so you will end up bunking the class just to chat with your friends.
Yeah, there's a lot of distraction.
Yes, there's a lot of distraction there. So yeah, that's how difficult it is.
Okay, so how does it work, Ayibongwe? Is it like a WhatsApp group, or the teacher is communicating with you directly? How does that work?
Yeah, there is a group. There are groups, and there is a personal, private talk. So yes.
So you guys are still able to ask questions. You guys are still able to follow, like in terms of the notes, and like you said, you guys are submitting classwork. Are you submitting on the WhatsApp group, or you're submitting via email? How does that work?
Sometimes we submit via email and via WhatsApp, depending on what the teacher has said.
All right.
Yes.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Ayibongwe. Kiyara, what's your experience like now being in this remote classroom? How does that work for you guys?
So different teachers have just taken a different approach depending on their subject.
Okay.
So we work on Google Classroom, and basically each teacher has a folder, and they can post assignments, due dates. They can even have links for calls that they've scheduled at a certain time. And so that's what some teachers are doing. Others are just texting us on WhatsApp as well, telling us what to do, what pages to read in our textbooks. And then another, I guess, problem you could say is that Waterford's a United World College, so
Sure.
you have people all over the world in different time zones. So I guess they're trying to find a way to get everyone in class at the same time, because connecting is still important and that interaction is still
Yeah.
of value. But yeah, as for now, whoever can make the live calls come, and if not, then they just go to the recorded sessions. Yeah.
All right.
Right. Okay. So things seem to be ticking along. What are some of the challenges that you're facing? Like, how are you feeling apart from just the interference with family and friends coming onto the WhatsApp group to talk while we're busy doing classwork? What are some of the other challenges that you're dealing with on this e-learning platform space? Ayibongwe?
Some students may have difficulty in buying data.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's very expensive.
Yeah.
So, especially on MTN. Luckily, we have Swazi Mobile here in Eswatini.
Okay.
You buy 10 Imalangani airtime and you get 1 gig
All right.
of data. So it lasts until the following day for 24 hours.
Okay.
Sure.
Yes, that's better. So
And you're obviously in a school week, so that's Monday to Friday. So every day you need to have at least a gig available for you.
yes, we have to.
Sure. Okay.
All right.
So that's kind of an idea of the weekly allowance that kids are looking at. How are you coping with just connecting on the internet and being able to access your Google Classrooms, etc., Kiyara?
I think one problem is again just being able to connect. I mean, our Wi-Fi at home is very unstable,
Yeah.
so you have that issue of missing class, or it keeps dropping throughout your classes, so you're not getting the information as fluid as you would like to. And then another thing is separating work from homework, because you're sitting at, well, for me at least, I'm sitting at my laptop from 8 to 4.
Yeah.
And then after that, I'm expected to do extra work to finish my syllabus. And it's difficult to stay motivated, I think.
To stay motivated and being so remote. So some very interesting things.
Yeah.
Being sort of disconnected from the hub, which is normally your school space, and needing to keep up that same level of productivity is obviously something that could be quite challenging. Pernille, if we could bring you in, please, on this. We've heard a little bit about what Ayibongwe and Kiyara are going through, and obviously in your space, we talk about wellness and kind of mental health. As we lead into the specific issue of children or kids, youth, using all these different remote platforms, why is it important to be considering things like wellness, mental health, as we speak to the subject of e-learning?
Okay, thanks. Well, I mean, first of all, I think just like Kiyara is sharing, if you're spending from 8 to 4 o'clock in front of your computer, already it means that the kids' youth today, their lifestyle for many people has changed enormously. So then physically they're not as active as they were. They're obviously also spending a lot more time on their own, so socially isolated. Which impacts young people, in fact, in ways that are even more severe than adults, being socially isolated and not being able to be with your peers. It's super important that we pay attention to that, and that we work with our children to adapt to the changes in their lifestyle, and that we pay attention also to any effects that it's having on their mental health and their well-being, and just be observant of what's happening.
Thank you. And when we say be observant, I mean, you mentioned how we are not as active as we probably would normally be. Like you say, Kiyara, you shared how you're sitting at your desk for long hours at a time. You said, socially isolated from our friends, so that physical interaction is no longer there. What are some of the, should I say, I don't want to say typical, because nothing is really typical, but what are some of the telltale signs that there could be, something that we need to be concerned about as we watch our teens and our children now engage in this type of learning, this new environment of learning?
Yeah, in some ways it's like it normally is that a key thing to watch out for with youth is any significant change in their behavior. And that of course comes naturally because they're spending a lot more time online. But any significant change, for example, in their mood, or in their interaction with other people. I hope that we'll get onto it, but there are obviously a lot more risks now for young people being online so much exposes them to a lot more risks. So it's important that we interact and engage with young people on how to address that so that they don't get caught in some of the negative things that are out there on the internet. But I'm hoping that you'll get to that, because it's really important for us to be aware of that, of what the risks are, and how we can help our young people manage those risks.
Absolutely. Okay, I love that. Maybe if we could just go on from that subject. Pernilla's talking about risk. So obviously being online, apart from saying hi, how's it, and sending emojis to friends and family, is the real issue of kind of maybe being interrupted by people we don't know, being sent messages that seem a little bit unusual, being asked to provide information that isn't what we would normally find. Have you had any experience with some of that as you've been on the internet a lot?
I don't think I've had first-hand experience with something very, very drastic where I felt uncomfortable or harassed, but I think that everyone's sort of on social media platforms right now, and that can be very dangerous, it can be very toxic, and learning how to disconnect from that in a time where we want to stay connected can be difficult. So I think just becoming detached and sort of becoming lost in that space and wanting to connect as an excuse can become, it can become very difficult. And when you have to go back to reality, it can bring up all sorts of problems, because social media is very controlled, it's very filtered. You show people what you want them to see, they show you what they want you to see. So I think just being aware and having self-discipline to be like, it's enough now and I need to step back, I guess. Yeah.
For now, I haven't experienced something like that.
All right.
So maybe I'm still going to experience it. So I don't know.
Okay.
So, but I wish to experience it.
Okay.
Yes, I wish.
Okay.
Just to know how the internet works, how to explore over the internet.
Okay,
Yes.
so there's a curiosity. I think it's
Yeah.
we needing to keep it healthy, right?
Yeah.
A healthy
Yeah.
curiosity, but there obviously are some risks.
Absolutely. All right. So we do have a couple of comments online. Thank you guys very much. Bridget says, maybe this one is for you, Pernille. How can we as parents monitor what our kids are accessing online? And this is obviously, like we said, they're spending a whole lot more time. Just before maybe COVID-19, we were actually trying to curb them from being online too much or all the time. But now here's a situation that says, hey, look, now they have to be online all the time. So what sort of like measures can we put in place as parents, as guardians, as teachers to monitor what our kids are accessing online?
Okay, I struggle a little with the word monitor, because I don't think it's possible for us as parents to actually monitor everything our kids do. Just in the same way we don't monitor exactly how they behave when they go out to a party or they're in town. This is kind of the same. It's I think similar parenting behavior can help to protect our children and to make sure that they have a healthy engagement online. My first big word of advice for parents and caregivers is to get involved in your child's online life. Actually get in there and see what your kids are doing. So if the kids are told that they have to be on different platforms, go and have a look at what the platforms are. If the school has a website, go and have a look at the website. Go and see, actually engage in the same things that your kids are doing, so that you have an understanding of what they're doing, who they're communicating with, what the official avenues are for communication. I would say even become your child's friend on the different apps that they're using. For example, if your child has an account on Instagram, I would advise parents, you get an account on Instagram and follow your child, see what they're doing. If they're on Snapchat, go on Snapchat, go in there and see what the kids are doing, and let them know also that you're there, so that they're not shocked by it. I don't think it's so helpful to spy on our kids and kind of pretend that we're not there and go in with false personas. but it's really also about engaging in a conversation with your children also about what the risks are, talking to them about how to set up good passwords, how to protect themselves in ways that you do yourself also online. And remember that our youth today, unfortunately, are targeted by people sometimes with bad intentions. So it's important to have those conversations with our children, just like we do. If somebody's going to a party, we talk to them about how to manage the alcohol that will be there, or how to manage advances from someone, etc., etc. It's very similar. It's just about the online world. I think for a lot of us in today's world, we've been taken over by the youth. They're moving so fast and they're engaging in so many things that we don't really understand. So my first word of advice would really be to try and get in there and try and understand the world that they're living and interacting, communicating in.
All right. No, thank you very much, Pernille. That's welcome to 2020 during COVID-19. It requires some unusual methods. So now I'm actually now curious. You know, Shelly as a parent, and then Kiyara and Ayibongwe as young people. How does that feel for you? How comfortable are you? And obviously comfortable being used loosely here because we are all thrown out of our comfort zone. But how comfortable are you with monitoring, checking on your child's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and especially the learning platforms that have been provided by the learning institutions? And then for you guys, how does that feel for you guys? Because we also need to take that into consideration.
Yeah.
Well, I know my mom already monitors me on on social media. I know she has an Instagram. She doesn't use it, but it's there. But I think, I'm not sure about, I think monitoring can be helpful. I mean, I personally wouldn't mind it, but in terms of the apps we use for school and the websites we're using and have to be on every day, I think it's important for parents to understand them and to get to know them, because then you also don't feel alone.
Sure.
If they understand how it works and the systems that are in place, then you feel like you're sort of, you know, in it together with them, I guess. Yeah. So I don't mind it personally.
And for you, Ayibongwe, how comfortable are you with maybe your mom or your dad going through your WhatsApp every once in a while, just to sort of like keep a check in terms of what's going on in your world? Because just as they would maybe have a conversation with your friends physically to get an idea of who they are and where they're from, now they're most likely having to do that on WhatsApp. How comfortable are you with that?
For me, I am very, very comfortable.
Okay.
Because my dad, my parents actually, they don't check my phone. They don't go through my phone.
Okay.
Yes. That makes me to be very comfortable.
Okay.
Because every time when I log into Facebook, the first thing I have to check on my comments for my pictures and stuff. So look at other things like how the world is responding towards this COVID-19.
Yeah.
Yes, so that is how I operate.
Right. And how would you feel if your parents did want to check your phone?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's an honest response. You just don't know because you've never had to go through that. And for you, Shelly, as a parent, Pernille is giving us some sound suggestions around that, because it's a very strange and unusual time.
Yeah.
How does that feel for you?
So I think the landscape has changed. To Pernille's point, it's a very different space. So before, if the phone was mainly used just to contact in case of emergency, and it wasn't really something that the kids spent a lot of time on, it now has completely changed. Yeah. Now, before there was no Facebook profile. Now there's a Facebook profile. There's an Instagram account that's active. So there's curiosity that has led kids now to go onto platforms that they wouldn't usually. So as a parent, my role then shifts, and I love what you said, is getting involved. It's just, how do you bridge that gap when you've been a little bit perhaps disconnected from it, and now needing to have these sort of what we would call perhaps a little bit difficult discussions, but also being able to establish a level of transparency where, and I know I have friends who at any time of day or night can ask for any device.
Right.
And it must be given to them with a password so they're able to open it, and to just be, you know, in touch with what's going on, but also then to have discussion around perhaps things that maybe aren't so tasteful, or to look out for some of the, you know, the trolls on the internet, or even cyber stalking. I mean, there's a whole range of things that can go on. But I also think what's really coming to the fore now is all this fake news. So like Pernille says, a lot of information, and sometimes that information overload can make one confused, and we need to be able to engage on that, have conversation. What's going on? How do you understand this? What does it mean to you? I think those are very important. So I'm feeling like I need to be a different parent in this time and space, to be honest. The way I was parenting before is not the same right now.
Right there, I think that underline that. You're having to be a different parent. We're actually all being called up to be different people at this time, because we are in a different time and space, and that's actually it's not an option. It's not a choice. I know there's some people. I hope the people who are on their COVID holiday have come back out, because right now we need all hands on deck, and we really just need different approaches, different suggestions, but ones that are specific to the Kingdom of Eswatini. And the reason why we ask where you are in the world when we check in, or when we welcome people into the room, is to really just find out, how are you dealing with the situation in your part of the world? We understand maybe right now there is no blanket sort of like solution, so we're really interested in finding out how each and every one of us is dealing with it in our part of the world.
So let's go quickly. Pernille, I saw you had your hand up. Please come into the discussion.
Yeah, I wanted to add actually to the point that Kiyara was making, and also about it being an unprecedented time and everything is very different. The point Kiyara was making about it would be actually great if my parents knew a bit more about what I was doing. And the point I wanted to raise was that for some kids, this has become an incredibly lonely time. They're in their rooms in front of their computer all the time. They're not having those normal interactions, the social interactions, and parents may be very busy in their different rooms looking at their computers. And I think it's so important for us as families to recognize this and to try and break that lonely behavior. And be careful that we don't suddenly have 4 or 5 family members all sitting in separate rooms, all on separate devices, and not engaging with each other. So just keep that in mind, not to allow too much alone time and too much loneliness.
Absolutely, I think that's very, very important, and probably being more mindful of it now. You're absolutely right. So do you have maybe some kind of, how would I say, a plan at home where you agree on how much time you can be on and off devices? So do you have specific family time where you don't have a phone or don't have a laptop open, and that you're simply having conversation? Kiyara?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of that, which is really cool. My brother and I work out together every morning before school, so that's something that we get to do together just by ourselves. And then as a family, we have a series that we pick that we watch together. So whenever we have like free time or it's the weekend, then we get together and we make snacks and we watch that movie together, or that series, which is cool. And then screen time, a rule that is trying to be implemented, is that we don't have screens. Screen time ends at 8 unless it's for schoolwork. So that's no phones, no PlayStation, no anything like that.
And that's 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay. Ayibongwe, how do you manage your screen time on and off? Do you find that you talk a lot on screen? Are you having conversation at home?
For me, I like spending most of the time with my family. So I spend at least 4 hours on my phone, then 4 hours family time, then the other hours I sleep, I rest 2 hours, then the other hours I spend it with my family. So then go back to my phone and stuff. So, yes.
Nice. So you've got a bit of a routine going on.
Not really.
4 hours on, 4 hours off, sleep, rest. That
Yes.
sounds like a bit of a plan for the day, like a
Yes,
program of
yes.
the day. Pernille, how important is it to have a certain routine or a plan for the day, even if we're not getting up, getting dressed and shooting out the door and going to school and coming back from school, but in the space where we're probably mostly at home?
Thanks for bringing that up. I would say it's super important. Even though you're not getting up and getting in your car and driving away, it's still really important to still get up, get washed, get dressed, because your day has started. I don't know about you guys, but for me, the first few days were kind of like I was a little lost. What, am I not going to work? And I kind of hung out in my pajamas. And but that if you continue with that, that can very quickly also lead to sadness and frustration, because pajama parties are only fun for so long. Like, we need to be engaged. We need to be with other people. We need to have purpose. So I would say it's super important. Try and keep a routine. It sounds great what Kiyara and her brother getting up every morning, doing some exercise. Set a specific time that you're either going to be doing work, or you're going to rest, or you're going to have fun. Try and keep, especially if you're following the online school program, try and keep those hours for school and then go and do something fun afterwards. For sure, I would also say fluctuate between sitting and focusing on the screen and getting up and moving. Use your body. Really get out, do some exercise, go for a walk, or whatever it is. But yes, try and keep routines going, for sure.
Okay, lovely. Thank you, Pernille. Guys, what we're going to do now is just go to the screen. We've got some great questions coming in that we'd like to interact on. So, Koli Masina asks, what is virtual bullying and how can kids avoid this? So maybe if I could come to our guests in studio, have you been or experienced any virtual bullying, and how did you react or respond to that situation? Ayibongwe?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
You haven't
experienced
yet.
it.
Have you had friends? Do you know of anybody who maybe might have been a victim of cyberbullying?
No, I haven't.
Haven't heard it yet.
Yes, I haven't.
Okay.
I also haven't experienced it myself, but it's something that I'm definitely aware of and something that I know people go through. So I think one thing is, I think more people need to be aware of it, what it is, how to handle it, because I don't think it receives as much attention as it should, because just because it's virtual or it's cyberbullying doesn't mean that it's any less intense, it's any less serious. So I think spreading awareness would be a really great thing to do about it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So maybe just to address the first part of Koli's question is, what is cyberbullying? And that is something that we are seeing a lot. A lot of people are acting tough, or they get they get to hide behind their keypads or their keyboards or their phones, and they feel like they can say whatever they want, however they want, about whoever they want. So sometimes you will find that it's a person or a group of people that sort of just like target a person or also a group of people, and then they just like throwing they're throwing derogatory language at them, they're insulting them, or they're just like constantly chipping away at their self-image and putting them in a space where they're constantly questioning who they are and purpose, and even if they even fit in, you know what I mean? So this is just like what's happening online, and you know, to answer that question, what is it really? And as for how do we avoid it, this is also very, very tricky. And Martin MK is saying cyberbullying is complicated to point out. It depends on how sensitive someone is. Definitely. Some people are able to just sort of like brush it off and look the other way. Some people, not so much. Spogazi Nigana says, I think social media can also create a I wish I was doing that too attitude and make a child miserable because it creates comparison. How do we control that? I find myself constantly under pressure to entertain my sister because she gets moody when moody. And that's one of the sort of like effects of cyberbullying, where we could be sitting here having a good conversation and everything's all good, and you go to your WhatsApp and you read something, you bump into something, somebody's saying something about you, your country, your company, your something that's very dear to you, and your mood flips immediately. Pernille, maybe let's throw this at you.
Pernille, is it true that it depends on how sensitive you are?
I guess that's true also for bullying offline, isn't it? But I would be really careful with cyberbullying, because cyberbullying can be as serious and have as serious impacts on someone as offline bullying. We in my world of mental health work, we hear and experience situations where young people try and take their own lives. It can have really serious impacts, cyberbullying. I like the conversation so far where you say that sometimes you can, like, some people are able to just brush it off, and that's true. Some people are able to just brush it off, and maybe it's even easier with an online forum to just go, oh well, you know, I'm not going to listen to this, I'm not going to pay attention to this. That's perhaps a bit easier than if you were standing in front of someone. On the other hand, it can be also even more hurtful than if you were standing in front of someone, because, like one of you already mentioned, people take advantage of the fact that they can be anonymous and they can say really bad and hurtful things that they wouldn't have the courage to say face to face. So the things that can be shared, and we of course also have a lot of people bullying each other by sharing photos. Sometimes they're photoshopped photos where perhaps someone's taken someone's face and put it on a pornographic photo or something like that, you know, where people are sharing photos or other things that someone wouldn't like to be shared. Sorry, now I'm talking so much. What was the question again, Shelley?
So I think you did answer it. It was around, you know, do we need to appreciate this bullying in terms of how we receive the news? But I think also there, perhaps it's just to weigh in, is we need to be mindful, right, of what it is that we're feeding ourselves. I think that's also, what is the quality of the content that you're looking? What is the quality of the people you're following? What are the images that we are feeding our minds? Because I think, you know, they say, I think 3 pages into a glossy magazine and people already, they've noticed, are feeling depressed based on what they look at. And sometimes we don't know these things because it's all happening at a subconscious level. But I think awareness, and I think Ayibongwe, you said so, there's this awareness that needs to be created around what's happening. And I think once we are aware, it's okay to be choosy. It's okay to be a little bit fussy about what we want to read, what videos we want to watch, who people that we want to follow. And I think that's quite important, because that lends to this space of creating a culture where there is this bullying or dark humor, as some people say, that may actually be considered offensive or degrading.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Pink, if you just maybe go up a little bit, I want to go to Tracy LaRue's comment. And Tracy says, I like to comment about loneliness. I have found it helpful to have an open door policy as well. I can come and go and check in as I please. And then Julie also says, a good thing to do is check in on the kids often. Offer your help and let them know you are available. Healthy snacks in between, and remind them to drink water. So this is just some of the things that we can do as parents to counter that feeling of loneliness, but also it gives you an opportunity to check in on what's going on with them. You know what I mean? What's their emotional state? What's their mental state in any given point in time? Especially if you make it random, because if you make it a routine, then they'll always know, okay, in 30 minutes she's going to come back again, and then they can sort of like create sort of like a scenario, rather than when you're coming in randomly, then you almost have like a real-time experience of what's going on in their space.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask, how's the eating habits been going during this time? Are you finding you're eating less or more healthy than before? Kiyara?
There's definitely a little bit more snacking and feeling peckish, but I think eating and eating healthy has been okay for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's lucky, no change.
Yeah.
Mine went drastically, it shot off
better,
the food is
compared to
better.
school, so.
Oh yes, so the quality of food. Ayibongwe, how's it been for you? Are you finding that you're snacking more? Have your eating habits changed? Are you drinking water or not?
Honestly, I can't control my food. I can't control my meals.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Just eat
Whenever.
Whenever I want to eat, I just eat.
All right.
And what's your favorite thing to eat? Do you have something that you really enjoy?
Oh, not really.
Everything.
Everything.
As long as it's tasty food, it's.
Of course.
So Pernille, the reason I kind of segued into that is how important actually is, the choice of what we're eating for our overall well-being in this time. What impact does it have?
For sure, it's something to be mindful of, especially because people are more sedentary. We're not moving as much as we were before. We're not moving around. So it's really important to make sure. I think it's natural when you're sitting still and focusing that you want to snack more, and that's okay. But make sure that those snacks are healthy snacks, so that you're not eating like 3 big bags of chips every day. And if you know that you're going to need a little snack while you're working in front of the computer, prepare for that. Take your healthy snacks with you. Have your water next to you. I guess in some ways it's a blessing that we can't go out and buy as much junk as we did before. So probably the use of soda has probably gone down, I imagine. But for sure, pay attention to the food and water. And another really important thing is to make sure that you get enough sleep. I think a lot of people are staying up later and they're on the screen much later because it's now become a little bit more accepted. But to remember to still sleep as much as you need to and to turn the screen off, whether it's your phone or your computer or your iPad, turn the screen off, I would say at least an hour before you start going to sleep, to allow your brain to shut down, be away from the screen.
Absolutely. So sleep very important, and that also lends to the moodiness part of things. So sleeping is good. How do you guys normally fall asleep? Do you switch everything off? Do you need music in the background? What is your sleep sort of routine? Ayibongwe?
I switch everything off.
And do you find it easy to fall asleep?
Of course, I do.
Good. I think that's good. Kiyara, how do you normally, what's your sleep routine?
I also usually switch everything off, put my phone away, and then I usually just read until I fall asleep as well.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's quite healthy options, because that blue light does actually interfere with kind of the ability to completely switch off and be in that relaxed state to sleep. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have we got some more questions on the board?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Once again, in the room, who's just joined us, we've seen Spogazi, Mbongeni, Kevin, Bridget, Yeyise, Philippa, Tendai, Kara, Goli, Martin, the birthday boy, once again, happy birthday, homie, Tracy, Jenny. Julie asked a question. She says, what are some of the techniques one can use to create structure during the learning at home experience? And I think maybe for you guys, what has been sort of like, Kiyara, you already spoke about in the morning you work out, and then how does your day then sort of like roll out from there between 8 and 4 and then beyond?
I try to keep the same structure I had at school. So, except now, I used to be a day student, which means I had to wake up early, catch the bus a bit earlier. So now I get to, have a bit more time in the morning, which is cool. So I wake up, I work out, breakfast, and then I usually do schoolwork, and I try to go according to my regular school schedule. So I'll check what I have for English, if I usually have English in the morning on a Monday. Yeah. And then at 10 o'clock, that's when we usually have break at school. So that's when I'll say, okay, for 40 minutes now, I'm gonna step away. Okay. And I try to follow the same thing I'd be doing if I was at school. Okay. Yeah. That's quite handy. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but using your same timetable from school and just using it in the home environment. Okay, that's a lovely tool. Yeah. And for you, Ayibongwe, what kind of a structure or approach are you using? So I start learning. I wake up at 7, then go bath, take breakfast. Then at 9, my class resumes. All right. So 9. Each subject takes 2 hours per day. So we learn 2 subjects per day. All right. So from 9 to 11, we do maybe maths. Yeah. Then we take a break
1 hour, then we continue.
Okay.
Then in the afternoon, we usually knock off at 3:30 at school. So at 3:30, I let my phone rest. So.
Let the phone rest.
And what do you do for the rest of the day?
So I just sit.
Yeah.
Yes, I just watch TV, do something.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
To pass the time. No, good. And I think we had Tracy had a lovely a comment to make. Tracy says, I work at Waterford and we recommend students stick to their daily timetable where possible to create structure. So I think, Kiyara, that's exactly what you're saying, Ayibongwe as well. You just follow the daily structure as if you were at school, but now you're at home. And that helps give some shape, yeah? And routine to the day. Okay, good.
Pernille, do you maybe have a comment on that particular subject around structure?
I think that the two young people have given really great examples, and exactly that, stick to your school structure that you had before. That's probably the easiest for you to do. But I like the examples that both of the young people gave.
So Michelle sharing, besides schooling, what is appropriate amount of screen time for children who are aged 12, 13 and up?
Where is the balance?
Where is the balance?
Yeah.
Okay, so this I think is a subject that divides the world around how much screen time is enough, how much is appropriate, how much is, I don't know, Pernille, do you have some information that can help at least guide us in that space, give us riverbanks?
Yeah, look, I'm not sure when she says besides schooling, because in a sense, if now we're doing the online schooling, unfortunately, the schooling has taken up all the healthy screen time. There isn't really any left. We shouldn't be spending more than 6 hours in front of a screen. That's already a lot. So if you're, and a lot of the schools are requiring that. They're requiring the kids to spend 5, 6, 7 hours in front of the screen, and I would say then you've reached your limit. It's not healthy for your physical or mental health to be sitting in front of a screen for more than 6 hours, I would say.
A lot, 6 hours, guys. So it sounds a lot, hey? I don't know how many hours have you given you an idea of time? How many hours are you spending on screen? Any ideas, more or less? A guesstimate, Ayibongwe? Daily? 2 hours.
Like on the TV, outside of the time that you're spending on your phone while you're learning.
Yes, like on TV, 2 hours.
2 hours of TV.
So outside of the school day, yeah, I would say about 2-3 hours as well.
2-3 hours as well. So that's on top of the school. So I think it's something to just be aware of and to look at it in its entirety, and perhaps just have options of what else could we do.
Sure.
And I think, like you said, it requires all of us to lean in. So even as parents, are we involved? How much are we involved? Can we get more involved? I think that's very important. We're all at home together. It's a great time to reconnect, maybe where we may have lost connection, but also just to be curious about what's going on in our children's lives. I think that's really important because, like we know, there's a lot of gremlins out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dark things happening.
All right.
Okay.
So Jennifer Martin has got a question, and she's basically just asking, how are you guys connecting with your friends? How are you guys staying connected with your friends right now? So we understand, that the routine has been sort of like flipped on its head. The norm is no longer the norm, but now we're at home, we're on our devices. How are you guys still connecting with your friends? Because usually at school you connect during break, during lunch, or
very informally.
Yeah, exactly. But now, how are you actually connecting with your friends? Maybe Ayibongwe and then Kiyara.
Yeah.
We call. We make calls. We call each other. Then sometimes we video call on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, group video calls and stuff. So on Facebook we chat there. On WhatsApp, then we call each other.
Okay.
Yes.
And how often are you interacting with your friends?
Almost every day.
Almost every day. Okay, like you would at school.
Yes.
basically.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Great.
Kiyara?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing for me. Something that my friends and I do is we'll sometimes call each other, and then even if we're not speaking, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Even if we're not speaking, we'll have each other on like a video chat while we're doing work, just so we feel like we're together, trying to move at the same pace.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, but yeah, one thing I did during this quarantine is I deleted all of my social media. So some of my friends are a bit mad at me, but I think it's been nice because we've gotten to like actually have physical calls and schedule times for each other.
Sure.
And
Sure.
yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. How are you keeping
Me, so I was actually going to ask, it's true, you become quite, you need to be intentional about connecting because you take for granted the fact that, you know, we would see each other weekly in the office or Pinky, Linda, and we cross paths very easily. Now we're not seeing each other. So I find that I've either, you know, people that I used to connect with on Facebook just with comments, I'm thinking, oh, I've got time to actually do a video call. Hey, let's hook up. You're at home, I'm at home. Let's actually look at each other, you know, and we haven't done this in years. Pernille, how important is it actually to be quite intentional about connecting with each other because we're not seeing each other anymore the way we used to?
Super important. And I think, ironically, what's come out of the past few weeks of people being away from each other is actually that people are contacting each other more than they did before, which is so bizarre, isn't it? Despite us being physically distant, many people are socially closer. For myself, I'm having a lot more phone calls with girlfriends overseas, even just up the road, because we're paying more attention to that now. And I would say that pay attention to the need to have socially close relations.
No, great. Love it. Yeah, so it's good. How are you doing in that space?
Hey, I ain't calling nobody. Don't call me. I won't call you. No, I'm just kidding. Look, yeah, you're definitely right. There's definitely such a need to connect, just touch base with people and find out what's going on in their world, how they're doing. You know, we normally you bump into each other in social gatherings at the basketball game or whatever. But now we're just like having to find different ways around that. There's need for one-on-one time with certain people, and then there's also need for that sort of like group gathering. And unfortunately, WhatsApp, like Ayibongwe said, gives you that platform where you can actually just like get into a room and have a collective craziness. You know what I mean? All at the same time, and then you just go back into your space. But it's definitely such an important part of us dealing with this situation right now, keeping in touch with your people.
No, absolutely. So, Pernille, if I could just come to you as well, I think, you know, there may be parents that also have a lot more questions around this issue. If we are looking for support in this area, simply to navigate the space of, you know, getting involved with kids who are going through things and need someone to speak to, what are some just practical things you can share with us around how to get hold of? I don't know if you're available during this time. I know some doctors are back in surgery and seeing, you know, and having consultations via sort of the WhatsApp groups and that sort of thing. But if people are looking for support, where do you know? Where is there a network? Where can they reach out to?
I think most of the mental health practitioners in Eswatini are still working. A few are still working face to face, and of course practicing the physical distance and sanitizing and so on. But otherwise, most practitioners are available for online counseling. I'm seeing clients online. Most of my colleagues are also working online now. Otherwise, I would say go and have a look online, because there's actually a lot of sites that are giving some really great information and tips on how to manage yourself in this time, how to manage family time, how to talk to your kids about what's going on. There's a lot of stuff going on, which has also been a great outcome of this situation. Is so much attention has been paid to how we should manage this. So go and look online. But otherwise, for sure, if anyone is really concerned about their child or any other family member and you feel that you'd like to talk to mental health professionals, everyone is still available, just in a different way than it was before.
Absolutely.
Pernille, do you mind if we share your contacts on our comment section? Maybe like if people would like to reach out to you?
For sure, you can put my phone number and my email address will be there also.
Perfect.
Okay, excellent.
All right. Also, in-house right here at the Pacific Institute, we do have qualified coaches who could sort of like help you to sort of just like from a cognitive space, place yourself or try to give you tools of how to cope through this time. We've got Shelly, Pinky, Marissa, Sue, Kim. These guys are qualified coaches that can sort of like help you to give you tools that can help you cope with this right here situation that we're all in.
Right. So, Pernille, thank you so much for being with us during the session. I think, and I know just looking at the comments that there's been some really valuable information and just tools and ideas that have been shared. So thank you so much for dialing in. And yeah, ladies and gents, as you saw, please get hold of Pernille if you just like to have advice or to speak to her directly, and we'll be sharing her details. Pernille, have enjoyed the rest of your day and the rest of your week.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.
All right, going back to the comments. Bridget says, Tracy, I agree. What we find useful is getting our kids to get out in the sunshine for a few minutes in between.
Warm and good
warm
vitamin
and
A.
good vitamin A, exactly.
Ayibongwe, are you getting out to the sun?
Pardon?
Are you getting outdoors?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, getting fresh air.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Okay, Kiyara, you said you work out. Are you working out outside or inside the house?
It's usually inside. I think I need
Okay.
to start paying more attention to going outside.
Yes, because Robin says definitely kids need the outdoors
outdoors.
now more than ever, and so do their parents.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Julie said, go outside in caps and about 5 exclamation marks.
No, absolutely. I have to agree. Being outside, we do take it for granted, but it's hugely valuable. Just to get the limbs moving, get real oxygen through the body, be in the sun, vitamin D, vitamin A, all those great things. We need them. So let's not take it for granted. And it doesn't have to be long. Hey, just a few hours, sit in the sun, and just enjoy the outdoors. Have a look at the surrounding, take it all in. It's a nice way to just take a break, right, from the craziness that we're dealing with at the moment. Okay, fantastic. So, as you know, ladies and gents, apart from the topic of the day, and thank you, you have been wonderful, but you're going to continue staying with us, what we like to do is really share about what's happening on the ground. It's a time for us to showcase what's happening in our Eswatini, what people are doing on the ground to really make an impact in this time, to make a change and a shift, and how it is that you and I can get involved if we don't have projects or things that we're doing ourselves. So it's kind of what we call the feature of the week, right? We need to have a jingle to sign in, feature of the week. Yes, he needs to do a jingle. So really our feature of the week, and I'm just checking to see if we are ready to go live with our feature of the week. Team, yes, we've got a thumbs up. We're good. Okay. So our feature of the week this week is we're speaking to Kim Rokes, who is with All Out Africa. So Kim's going to tell us a little bit about what the organization does and what is happening on the ground that you and I can get involved with. Okay, so let's connect with Kim. Okay, hi Kim, we can see you. Can you hear us?
Hi. Yes, I can hear you very well, thank you. Awesome.
Okay, awesome.
Well, thank you so much for a very interesting session. I think us as parents have got lots to learn and certainly many very topical issues there to consider. But thanks also for hosting us as All Out Africa. Maybe just to share initially a little bit about the organization. We're a proudly Swazi organization, and our mission is to create adventures that change lives. And we've been running for about 15 years now. We are Swazi, but we also work outside of the country in neighboring South Africa and Mozambique. And as I'm sure everyone is aware, this pandemic has had huge impacts on many organizations and people. And we are primarily a responsible travel organization. So most of our revenue actually comes in from travelers who are wanting to do a travel experience with a difference. So they are wanting to engage a little more than a normal tourist would, and actually get involved in projects and in assisting people and the environment. Um, so we're really a social enterprise. We have both a business arm where we organize these travel experiences, but we also have a charity arm where we focus on the impacts that we have in communities and in the wildlife areas that we work in. And of course, this coronavirus pandemic has had a huge impact on travel. All of a sudden, our travelers stopped coming and our revenue dried up, and we found ourselves as an organization now with 60 staff and no revenue coming in. And we had to get very creative about how can we still survive? How can we, in some ways, still support our team? And I found myself personally initially very negative and despondent about the future and what this might mean. But we rallied together as a team and we started looking at, so what do we have in the way of resources? Well, we have some staff who are very capable and who have connections and history of working in the communities here. We have vehicles that are sitting and which we're able to use to get out into these areas. And we have some facilities, accommodation, and we started looking at how can we bring together some of these resources that we do have to meet some of the needs of people in these communities. And some of the immediate needs we've really started noticing are people struggling to feed their families. This is something that is, daily challenging many people. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and many people already were living below the poverty line. It's around about 60% of the population here in Eswatini live below the poverty line. So we started rallying together and discussing with the traditional leaders of the communities and started identifying those families that were most vulnerable and most in need of support. And we've come up with a challenge, and I'm a very proud parent of my two kids who have taken up this challenge and rallied ahead. I have a little video here. I'm not sure if it's going to be possible to show it to you, but perhaps if we share the screen, I could play it and then you could actually see it. So are you willing to give that a try? Okay. Well, that's fine. We could do that. I'm going to ask. Okay, I will do. I'll ask Rob's, my wife, to post the link, because for me to talk and do that at the same time is definitely going to test my capabilities. What is the challenge? Well, it's this. Tristan and Tana live at the base of Sheba's Breast Mountain, and they started looking up at this mountain, and we do have a hiking trail that goes up to the top. And they've done it before, rather reluctantly and somewhat slowly, if I say so myself, but took on the challenge of trying to do this as quickly as they possibly could, as a physical challenge for themselves, as a way of also trying to show people that they're willing to take on this challenge as a fundraiser, to get people to put funds towards this cause of providing food for the most vulnerable families in these communities. So we call it the Sheba Corona Challenge. So you can hashtag Sheba, that's SHEBA, Corona Challenge. And you will see on our Facebook page for the Sheba's Breast hiking trail, which is at Hike Sheba, Sheba's Breast. You can have a look there and see what the challenge is. But basically, it's challenge yourself to get out into nature, hike this trail as quickly as you possibly can, and in the process, join a fundraising effort to raise funds for providing food for these families that need it. And if you want to find out more about how you could get involved in that funding, you could support Tristan and Tana's fundraising initiative. They've been very proactive at trying to get the word out there, and so this video that they did put together will give you that info of how you can actually support their fundraising campaign. But basically, you can go to the globalgiving.org website. It's www.globalgiving.org, and you can search for All Out Africa as an organization, and you will find there that there is the project, the COVID-19 Poverty and Hunger Relief Project, and you can either choose to donate towards their fundraiser, or if you wanted to, you could actually, join what they are doing, and you could create your own fundraiser. So if you go to that project that I've just mentioned, the All Out Africa COVID-19 Poverty and Hunger Relief Project on the Global Giving page, you can click Start a Fundraiser, which is a green button on the bottom right of the page, and you can create your own personal fundraiser there. You could set yourself a challenge.
Fantastic.
It might be whatever you want. Perhaps you're into baking and you could bake as many bread loaves or other things, whatever it is. We're encouraging people to get positive, get proactive, take on a personal challenge, and in the process help towards a worthy cause. So that's what we would, just like to put out there. We're doing what we can, and we feel that it's helped to get us into a positive mental state and a positive physical state, and we're really seeing the impact of these food deliveries. So far, we've delivered food parcels to 45 families. So these are the most needy families in the communities in the Lobamba and Lobamba-Lomzala areas. And going out and delivering this food, it really has an impact when you see the state of some of these families and the struggle that they're having to put food on the table. So we'd really encourage as many of you as possible to get involved and to help towards what we think is a worthwhile cause.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kim. And just to, to say thank you for what you're doing. And I think if anything, it's just real inspiration that, everybody can do something. Yeah. And we don't have to feed 5,000 people, but just like you say, 45 families, that already has a huge impact. And even that can make a difference. So really thank you for what you're doing. It is tough, and I really hope that you have some plans and means and ways in which to revive post this. But I think just like you said, Sheba's Breast is still open for business. People can still hike, and we were just talking now with Pernille about the importance of getting out, getting into nature, being, getting some oxygen through, getting out the house, putting, all the devices down on the table and just spending time as a family. So that's a wonderful way to just also support and be going up that trail. But otherwise, we just thank you so much for sharing with us. Ladies and gents, if you are interested to support this initiative and Tristan and Tana's fundraising, please go to the link. We have already posted it onto our chat. Please click on there. And like Kim says, maybe you've got an idea to do your own fundraising. I think that's great. Thank you so much, Kim, for sharing. And please do keep us posted on your development so that we can just keep getting people involved with your projects.
Great. Well, thank you so much, guys, for your support and all the positive stuff that you're doing as well. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kim. Have a lovely day.
Ciao, guys.
Bye.
Well.
Ciao. Okay, so what a lovely story. So Tristan and Tana, two young students, they're also at Waterford, who have started now this fundraising, really about providing food relief for families. And I love that idea. 45 families, Lobamba-Lomzala area, that's what it takes, right? So if you are interested in doing something like this to support families in your area, ladies and gents, it's that simple. Get some food, non-perishables, into a basket and just deliver to families who are really, really, really suffering and finding it very very difficult to make it through this time. You just shared with us 8,000 jobs have already been lost since the beginning of COVID.
Yep.
That has a huge ripple effect. We know this. So let's all do our part. Guys, just to understand from your perspective, are you involved in any initiatives? Would you like to get involved with something? What's happening in your neck of the woods? Is there anything that's happening that you're seeing, that you've heard of, that people are doing on the ground? Kiyara?
Yeah, one thing that I've been a part of is Girl Up, which is a women empowerment group. And we used to run as an extracurricular activity at school, but obviously now we can't do that. And we used to meet face to face. We used to get involved with communities outside of our own, and it was really about interaction. So we've been trying to figure out how are we going to now take everything that we, aimed for and what we stood for and make it virtual now, but still somehow connect with people that may not be able to connect virtually. So yeah, that's been fun trying to plan that.
Right.
Yeah.
So Girl Up is are you guys available online, just in case somebody wants to plug into what you guys are already doing?
We have a website that started last week.
Okay.
So that's cool. But
so we'll also put that link to the website on the comments.
yeah, that would be cool. And what you can do is you can log on, and then there's articles, there's videos, there's petitions, there's a whole bunch of things.
All right.
Nice. Ayibongwe, on your end?
What's going on in your community that you're aware of in terms of people helping each other out during this time?
So my community is very quiet for now.
Okay.
I don't know why, because this is the time they should be standing up. They should act.
Okay.
Because this is a tough time for everyone.
Yeah.
So, and I wish to join some club to help poor children out there, because imagine having a parent who has just lost a job now.
Yes.
Imagine not having food on the table every day. You go to bed with an empty stomach. Well, I'm very lucky. My parents are essential workers, so that is very, very, very painful to other kids.
Yeah. But maybe it's waiting for you, Ayibongwe. You said it's quiet, nothing's happening.
Yeah. You're the one.
You're the one.
For sure.
So
Started.
click on the link and set up a challenge and let us know so that we can support you as well in what you want to do. So if there are families that you have identified in your community who would need help, assistance in the form of food packages or anything else, let's challenge us and we're challenging you. You're the one, right?
Definitely.
Ayibongwe's challenge is coming up, inspired by you, Kim Rogues from All Out Africa.
Yeah.
Great, and it's as simple as that, ladies and gents. Really, sometimes we overthink things, right?
Yep.
We started this connect with just an idea and a wish to connect with you and share some stories. Hey, we're still trying to twist somebody's arm. To do a little bit of entertainment for us, for example. Obviously, the arts industry also very much impacted at this time, and I hope you get an opportunity to share with us what's happening in that space. But really, let's not overthink it. Let's just simply get involved. If we can, it could be as simple as a food hamper and just connecting with people on the ground who perhaps are really, really struggling at this time. And if we're fortunate to be blessed, let's bless others.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're definitely in a time and space where there's no such thing as a crazy idea right now. You know what I mean? Your crazy idea could be exactly what your community, what this time, what the Kingdom of Eswatini, what Africa needs. So please just feel free to dream, feel free to just like spew out as many ideas as you possibly can. And of course, when you come up with ideas, you need some sort of support. And shout out to Nanette, Auntie Nanette, who says, so proud of you, Kiyara. Love hearing your feedback and advice for all the young ones out there. Thanks very much for tuning in, Nanette. Welcome, Ding, Yael, and Libby. And then Robin Rokes had a question to say, do you guys have a post discussion link that we can share with others to share this good work? Yes, we definitely do have YouTube page and right here on Facebook. What we've noticed over the past couple of weeks is that even after the live stream has stopped, discussions keep going on that page, and we appreciate that very much, because that's the place, that's the point of this platform, Connect, where we're actually sharing ideas, sharing context on just how we can do this better or the best possible way that we can.
Absolutely. So just some announcement. As we say, we're always trying to connect each other as well on this platform, and we love to do so. So we also have the clinic. So many of us might have received this on social media. There's a call for blood donations. So there is a shortage of blood in the country due to the current lockdown. If anyone is willing to donate blood, please register with MedLab at Mbabane Clinic so that we can contact you if needed. And obviously this coming from the clinic group. So those of us who maybe have not done this before and would like to really do something that has a huge impact on people's lives, please contact MedLab and they'll be able to direct you and tell you how to donate life, which is blood, right?
Yeah.
What other announcements we've got? Yes, we've got one from Yebo Art Gallery. Once a week, we're turning the gallery into a collection point. So Yebo Art Gallery are turning their gallery into a collection point. They're based in Eswatini for food donations. So just coming off the bat of what Kim has shared with us, Ayibongwe, this is also for you on how to learn how to do this. Ayibongwe will be the next drop-off point. So it's for food donations. They can be taken to the care point in Eswatini. So that's once a week. Please get hold of Yebo Art Gallery to find out which day in the week we can do that. And perhaps also just to find out which items of food are really the ones that are best suited for these activations. Okay. And then we have another one, which is Logico. So they have partnered with Premier Eswatini for weekly Make a Difference campaign to distribute food parcels. Okay, and last week they were at Mjoli in the Manzini region. So again, Logico in partnership with Premier Eswatini. So coming through for food parcels, please get hold of them. Make a Difference campaign.
All right, the clinic group is running a donate blood campaign, and then we also have Yebo Art Gallery, who are currently having their collection point for food donations once a week, and then Logico have partnered with Premier Eswatini for weekly Make a Difference campaign to distribute food parcels, and we appreciate that very much because, like we said, we need everybody to come together right now and make a difference.
Right.
Ayibongwe, Kiyara, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Just maybe a parting shot from you. What's top of your mind? What's the one thing you'd like to share with our listeners, with our viewers right now? And as far as what's going on in your space, what's something that's very close and dear to your heart right now?
I would advise people to stay at home.
All right.
They should obey the government's rules and regulations. They should wash their hands frequently, drink a lot of water, do exercises. Even indoors, you can do exercises. So stay at home and stay safe.
All right. Stay home, stay safe. Beautiful. Lovely. Kiyara?
I just think don't stay silent if you feel like you're having a tough time. Someone's probably having the exact same experience, so just talk to people.
All right.
Yeah. So connect, being important. From my side, it's just thank you very much for tuning in. Continue to follow us. We're obviously looking for support to continue doing these wonderful episodes with you. We'd also like to do the shout out. These boxes are not empty. They are not props.
The best part of the show, son. Shout out to Debonair's Pizza for hooking us up with lunch here today. Thank you very much. Of course, today is Tuesday, and they're running their Tuesday 2 special, where you get 2 pizzas for the price of 1, son. So,
nice.
You know, if you get 1 pizza and it's like too much, holla at your boy. You know, just drop it off somewhere. Just leave it at Debonair's. I'll go and pick it up myself. But also, they do have a delivery service for you, so you don't have to drive to them. You just call them, and they will come to you. Thank you very much, Debonair's Pizza. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you. And on the subject of yummies, it is Mom's Day coming up, and there's many moms in the country that would like to be treated and just told how valuable and how wonderful they are. So all moms in the country, we obviously wish you a happy Mom's Day ahead of time. Please contact, like we had last week, we had Batter Bakes. They'll be doing some really gorgeous eats. Helene's Kitchen also doing some lovely things if you'd like to send a box to a loved one. But also if you're a baker, let's bake some batch of cookies and touch somebody's life and just say, we see you, and we just want to say you are valuable, you are being counted. So I think that's a lovely thing to remember. Yeah?
Absolutely. From us right here at the Checkers Office Park in Mbap City, it's thank you very much Thank you to Ayibongwe. Thank you to Kiyara, Shelly. You're amazing as always.
Thank you.
Me. I mean, come on now. If I start talking about me, this show is not going to end. But shout out to Linda, Pinky, DT, the technical team in the background, making sure that we come to you live and direct. It's peace, love, and happiness, and we love you. We value you. You guys, like I said before, maybe, just maybe, the solution that we need is going to come from you. So let's not wait for them. Let's make this about us. Stay connected.
Bye,
Peace out.
everybody.